Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video about Richard the Rat's Roving Adventure, Cheese and Challenges. In case you haven't seen the general rules, I'd suggest you watch this video first. This video is going to be about the 3 separate ways you can really play the game, or, in other words, about the factional rules in which we will play with. Before we talk about the different factions, we must talk about the 3 separate ways that you can play. In one way, you can play with equal parties. In this version of the game, each party will start off with 15 separate army tokens that they can place freely on their first row of the board. Every turn that they go, they will be able to move 1 space, and they will also get 1 reinforcement army token that they can place on either pre-existing stacks or on the first 3 spaces right next to their base. Again, in this situation, free army stacks have a maximum army of 5 extra armies. In another version of the game, different factions are going to have different properties. In this version, the exact same rules with moving, with how many victory tokens you get, how many chaos cards you can get. Just generally, the only difference with the factional rules is that you start off with different amounts of armies that you can freely place on your first space of the board, and you will get different amounts of reinforcements every turn of the game. Finally, there's one more thing that we need to discuss. There are several ways that you can win the game, or I should say several different versions of the game in how winning is achieved. In the main version of the game, once you defeat an enemy's base, once you destroy that base, all of their troops are taken off the board, and you, as the player who defeated them, will gain 10 extra reinforcements for your armies to place, similar to how normal reinforcements are placed. This is the main way to play the game. However, if you're looking for a more chaotic version, or you just want to have a longer game, then you can do it more like Minecraft Bed Wars. In this version of the game, destroying the enemy's base will only stop their turn-by-turn reinforcements. In this version of the game, the whole point of the game is not necessarily to destroy every enemy's base, but to be the last player with troops on the board standing. This is going to take much longer, but it may be more chaotic. In this version of the game, you can still get extra reinforcements from either trading in victory cards or destroying enemy bases, even if your own base is destroyed. Okay, now, after we have that covered, let's talk about the separate factions. So, we have several new factions after Richard the Rat's Roving Adventure, The Invasion of New Ohio. These 2 new factions is the Rat King and the Federal Bureau of Steamboat Willie. We also have several returning factions. We have a newly designed version of the Ohioan Corn. This is the new Ohioan Corn token. And we once again have Richard the Rat's Army. All right, so here are the overall rules. Here are the overall rules for the separate factions. So, with Richard the Rat's Army, he's the titular character, so he'll go first. With Richard the Rat's Army, you will get, again, 5 army points in each base, okay? Again, the bases cannot move. However, for free points on the first row, you will get 10 army points to just place freely. All right? And every turn of the game, you will get an extra troop. After 20 turns of the game, it'll become every other turn in order to ensure that the game does not go longer. Every other turn after round 20, you will get only 1 extra troop every other turn after round 20. Okay? So, just to reiterate, for Richard the Rat's Army, you will start off with 10 free troops, and then after that, until round 20, you will get 1 troop every turn. After round 20, you will get 1 troop every other turn. Okay? And then let's go with the next one, Ohio. Ohio starts with more troops. They will start with 15 troops to place on their first row. However, However, after round 10, they will only receive an extra reinforcement every other turn. Until round 10, they will also get one every turn. This way, both Ohio and Richard the Rat, by round 20, will only get 30 reinforcements to freely place. This is the basic rule for all of the separate factions. Different factions start off with different amounts, but their reinforcements ensure that by round 20, which is by about the point the game should end, they should have about the same amount of armies, so their advantage really is more psychological than anything else. Okay, now let's go on to the next one. The Rat King's army. The Rat King is more or less an absurdly extreme version of Richard the Rat's army. How this one works is you get only 5 free points to place along your side of the first row. However, how this also works is that you will get 2 reinforcements every turn until round 10. After round 10, you will only get a reinforcement every other turn. Just to be certain that it stays consistent, once you get to the every other turn, every odd number turn, you will not get a reinforcement. Again, this ensures that by the end of it, the Rat King army will also only get 30. Only get 30 reinforcements across the game. And then finally, we have the Federal Bureau of Steamboat Willie. The Federal Bureau of Steamboat Willie is going to be an extreme version of the Ohio Corn. With the Federal Bureau of Steamboat Willie, they're going to start off with 20 free points. However, they'll only get a reinforcement every other turn. To ensure that the Federal Bureau of Steamboat Willie does not just absurdly destroy everyone within the first few turns, they're going to be locked in to their first 2 rows for the first 3 turns of the game. This is just to make sure that everyone has a fair shot. Okay. Again, that should be about it. Thank you again for watching. And just in case you want to go over the rules again, there's our other previous video before this, or each copy of the game will come with its own instructions, which have all the rules of the game again reiterated. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the game.